A friend's entitled ex turns into a stalker, plus updates. Original post. My friend 30 female came to the US from Latin America at 19 as a student. She also started dating her ex 29 male after many years of hanging with each other, both during vacations and online. I knew them both since high school, and they seemed good together. She tried to convince him to move together a few years before their breakup. He was living with his parents who wanted him to leave. At this point, she had already finished college and had a job in the US that granted her a visa, while he had quit college and worked part-time. From what I can gather, he didn't want to leave his parents' place because free food and no rent. So instead, she asked me if I wanted to move with her so we could afford a bigger place. I said yes, and we moved together, adopted a cat and a dog, and pretty much became Grace and Frankie. Around the start of the pandemic, things got bad for them. This is what I was told and what I saw. They never talked or hung out or anything. I was in a breakup at a time myself, so I wasn't really on top since I had my own issues. But my friend cried so much. She didn't even get a happy birthday. After a year of no contact, she assumed the relationship was over. She changed all her social media to single, which he could see, took him off her emergency contacts at work and at her doctor's, and just moved on with her life. This year, my stepdad's health has gone downhill, and my mom needs help caring for him. She works full-time as a therapist. I work from home and my job is very flexible. So I put in the idea of all of us living together, and I'll care for my dad. Eventually, I'll care for my mom too. My mom loved the idea and asked my bestie if she wanted to move with us too so we could all be together. And also because at this point, I can't see myself not being in the same house as her. We've come to terms in being single ladies. Heck, we've joked that one of us should adopt, and we become parents/aunt dynamic. But now the joke is more serious since I'm considering it, and she's incredibly supportive. No, we're not dating. We're just incredibly close after all the BS we've lived through together. We found a perfect house, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. Enough space, a yard, everything we need. And we got it after a bunch of difficulties and arrangements. Since I don't have immediate plans for adopting yet, I have a ton of paperwork and years of planning ahead. We made the extra room into our office/gaming hub. We both work at the same place, totally not on purpose. They were hiring and we both needed visas. And as proud first-time homeowners, we posted pictures. Her ex, who by this point has been MIA for 3 years, messaged her, saying he was so excited to move into the new house. She told him this was her house with me and my parents, and he said since they were a couple, she should kick me and my parents, so he could move in. I want to point out that my parents bought the house. We, Fred and I, will pay them our parts over the years. And if she decides to move out, I'll finish paying and I'll buy her part out. This is all in paper and signed. So she obviously told him he was not moving in with us, and that he ghosted her, so there was no relationship. He went on a tirade that he never broke up with her, that she was abandoning him, that she never cared about him, etc. I got mad, took the phone from her and told him he could live in a bear cave for all I care, but to leave my friend and our house alone. He went ballistic and began calling us some names, referring to the LGBTQ+ community that would probably get this post flagged. So I'll leave it to your imagination. My friend started crying, and I was absolutely done with him. I never thought he was abusive, but my friend confessed to me that this was not new. He always had issues with the two of us living together, and accused her often of cheating on him with me. We ended a call and I told her she needed to block him for her own sanity's sake. She deserves so much better than this man-child. She got me to leave my horrible ex when I was in high school. She took me to the hospital when he beat me up and called my parents. My friend is family, and I'll be dead before I let some bastard with commitment issues make her suffer. Since then, he's gone on a major campaign in our friend group to say my friend abandoned him and left him homeless, since apparently he canceled his lease after he saw we bought a house. He also claims we're lesbian Satanists that probably mistreats our pets and are mooching off my parents. Most of my friends know the story. I know my friend and I moved together at first out of necessity. Then we just don't see ourselves not living together. So yeah, my friend's ex is a nutcase. And if he ever gets close to her again, I will personally give him a free vasectomy. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Wait, so 3 years later, he's like, can't wait to be with my girlfriend I haven't talked to or seen in years? That's next level entitlement. Also next level delusional. Sounds like a form of mental illness or drugs? He canceled his lease after he saw we bought a house. Stop. I laughed so hard that a cat woke from her nap and bolted from the room. Ditch any of the friends that sympathize with him, especially the ones who take a side. Also, you and your friends are goals. Funny enough, no one has so far. Either they don't want to deal with it, or just ignore him. They might have already blocked him. That way, he can be in a group, but they have no idea. Just to cement the deal, get the cops involved. Submit them the fact that it has been 3 years since they last had a conversation. Phone call, text, online, whatever. And that he is harassing OP's friend. I'm sure something can come out, like a restraining order or something. Not the a-hole. I bet he didn't cancel his lease. I bet his parents kicked him out, which is why he wanted someone else to mooch off of. First update. Hey everyone, a bit quick on the update, but some people ask if our friends knew where the ex was hiding for 3 years, and I was actually curious. Since I was down for the count at work today, I had time to check with my friends and find out more. Apparently, my bestie did ask them, but they didn't know. From what they tell me, he kinda got back into everyone's life in the last year or so, but he was part of the group because they were besties' friends, not really his. I don't personally know many of his own friends, to be fair. I did track down the ex's sister thanks to social media and poked her for info. She's very nice and always treated my bestie right. I told her what her brother did and her response was very interesting. Apparently, the ex was dating other girls until his parents decided to move outside the US and he's now living in a friend's couch. The last she heard was a couple of days past when they went out for coffee. He was saying he got his brand new house and was going to be moving in this week. As far as she knew, my bestie begged him to take her back and let her live in his house. I did correct her and said that no, bestie's living with me and my parents in our new house. Her reaction was, of course he lied, and just thanked me for letting her know he was talking nonsense. Aside from that, I do want to report we are safe. He doesn't know where we live, and most people don't because we're not really ready to open Pandora's box and having friends come over. We also need time to figure out who we wanted to know. We won't be going to the police unless something serious happens, just because this is technically not a crime. But we are going to keep recordings and printing text conversations. If it tries anything, we have all our papers in order. And just in case, I plan to contact our company's HR so they know the situation. The company we work for can provide us free legal counsel if things get bad. Now for the second update. For a bit, it was actually pretty calm. She did cut contact and block him as Manny suggested, and between the two of us, my bestie and I did some calling in our friend group of people we knew were passing information to her ex. We've settled in a new house together, and she actually gets along better with my parents sometimes than I do. Guess she's the golden child now. Sadly, eventually we had to adult and get much needed food. We went to Walmart in town together, and by some bad luck, we crossed paths with her ex. I wish all of it was just awkward glances in each other way, but no. At first, I tried to talk to her. My friend said she didn't want to speak to him and didn't want him near her. I mostly reminded him I wanted to rip his spine and beat him to death with it. Sadly, that didn't deter him from following us around, like the most obnoxious toilet paper stuck to shoe. We did our shopping and headed to the car with him still after us. I told my friend for her to get into the car and start the gear and lock it while I loaded the groceries. Her ex then decided to appeal to me to talk to my friend about taking him back. I don't know what power held me back from committing a felony, but pretty sure I've earned a PhD in self-control. I told him, in no uncertain terms, where he could put his reconciliation, and that if he kept following us, I will make sure his legs were out of the equation. I got in the car and my friend began to drive back when we noticed a car following us. And we knew it was following because the direction we were going was not usual. To rule out a possible neighbor, we actually did a full U-turn almost back to the store, stopped to get some fast food, ate in the parking lot, then headed again back home. And the same car was after us. Now, as much as I'd talk of violence, I have to admit I was terrified. So was my friend. Neither of us has a gun permit. At best, we carry a can of pepper spray. And we know her ex does have weapons. So yeah, we were not comfortable at that point. Instead, we headed past our neighborhood. And following the usual advice from TV, drove to the police station. Once in it, we did write a statement and I got scolded about the confrontation in Walmart's parking lot. The reason we knew it's her ex was because when we got home, she got a call from him and a new phone number saying, "I know where you live now." We immediately called the police. So that's where we stand. Cops just left a few minutes ago, and my brother is going to be staying over for a few weeks until we got the RO and some sturdier locks. Also, I want to clarify a few things. A lot of people ask why originally my friend took a whole year of being ghosted to accept the relationship was over. Well, I get it, trust me. Please understand that when my friend came to the US, she had no one. She's cut contact with her toxic family. She literally only had her ex. I moved into the US a year later and also came alone at first. But my parents were able to become citizens and I had them. When her relationship died out, she lost not just her boyfriend, but his family, who pretty much were as close to her own family as she could get. It's not easy, and I personally can't imagine how lonely she felt. I can spend Christmas with my parents. She had no one for that first year. So please, don't judge her on it because she doesn't deserve it. It's not easy to be an immigrant when you have no place to return to. That sounds terrifying. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, Opie. I hope you're able to get a restraining order. Best wishes for you four, especially you, Opie, and your bestie. No one deserves this kind of psychotic treatment and the fear that comes from it. Maybe think about the reinforced front and back doors, security cameras, and one of the Ring doorbells, so you can see who is outside and talk to them through it. Stay safe. I'm not a security expert, but I would like to pass on a couple of tips. First, before you or your friend get into your cars, always check inside it to make sure nobody's concealed in it, especially at night. Second, when you're shopping anywhere, etc., and you don't feel safe walking to your car, ask the store, mall, restaurant, or other establishment for an escort to your car. The escort must wait until you are inside your car before he or she leaves to go back inside. If the establishment does not provide an escort to your car or is naughty about it, don't do business there again and send them a letter explaining why. A company which does not care about your safety does not deserve your business. With all my heart, I hope things turn out well for you and your friend. Can I add that they get security cameras and a video doorbell? If it comes sneaking around and you have it on film, you can use it to get a restraining order. Also, it means you can check who's at the door before answering it. These things aren't as expensive as you think. Please search for tracking devices on your vehicle. Do this. He's a crazy stalker. Watch out. Not just your vehicle. He may get someone to accidentally bump into one or both of you and slip an AirTag in your jacket pocket, purse, etc. Don't leave your belongings when you're in public and say you have to use the restroom for the same reasons. There is an app called Tracker Detect for this. Had a stalker for a long time, before smartphones, but I downloaded it just the same when I got paranoid again. If you go to your phone's app store, you can search for tracker detectors and download as soon as possible, just to make sure you don't have any. Third update. I wanted to do an update, but I haven't had a time. Thank you all for your well wishes and advice. We're certainly taking measures for security. We're working with the police, who have been absolutely great the whole process, and are helping Bestie to get the RO. For now, we have my brother using our couch. His ex-military and has a gun permit, so we feel comfortable with him home. We still have no idea what's going on with my friend's ex. To be sincere, aside from focusing on our safety, I don't have the time to play Scooby-Doo. I did send a message to his sister warning her that we will press charges if he keeps creeping on us. We also did find an AirTag hidden under the car's bumper. It was immediately removed and turned into the police. Other than that, we're doing fairly good, enjoying the space in the yard. And to our new French aunt, we absolutely love to have you as family. Does the ex know where they live now because they passed their house and he somehow recognized it? Or does he think they live in a police station? He doesn't. They didn't get to the house, just the neighborhood before turning around. He's trying to scare her into giving in and needs to lie because he doesn't have an actual reason. Textbook abuser. We went to Walmart in town together and by some bad luck, we crossed paths with her ex. If you're ever in this situation, talk to a staff member, have them get security, and call the police. Tell them a threatening man is following and harassing you. Do not go to the more secluded car park. Do not enter your identifiable car. Deal with it in the store. Definitely do not threaten violence to an unhinged man with access to weapons. You don't know how desperate, angry, or violent he is. Also, if being followed, do not drive home. Drive to the police station and explain what's going on. They will either flee or get spoken to the police. They will not find out where you live. I was getting road raged once and didn't even need to drive to the police station. I just drove to where I knew there was a lot of cop cars and pulled up beside them. Suddenly, all the honking and shouting stopped. They just drove on past. Doormate had some creepers try to follow her one time she was heading back to her parents' place for Christmas. Stopped to get gas, noticed this guy staring at her from another pump. Guy followed her into the station and back out, and then followed her onto the interstate. He stayed on her tail as she drove through the city, despite her weaving through traffic, and she called her boyfriend, freaked out, not sure what to do. It took a while, but it got her calmed down enough to get her to hang up and call 911. By then, she was out in the country, upper Midwest. It can go from urban to open country real fast when on the interstate and had no way to dodge the creep. And by then, he was leapfrogging her and getting in front of her, trying to force her to stop via collision. Operator got Doormate connected to the nearest highway patrol and they stopped the pair of them. Patrol got her story, instructed her to get off the interstate a few miles ahead and get onto a major highway for a little while, along with his card. She was able to drive off while the cops kept the creepers behind. Ends up he had a female passenger. No idea what happened to them. Hopefully they've found evidence of an attempted kidnapping/trafficking and were able to hold them. She was a little twitchy when she came back after the winter break and was hesitant to go back home for Easter break. The rest of us co-eds on in our dorm got a lot more wary and alert while out on long road trips after that.